to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Silent Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Howdy.
And it's me, Brian, trying to keep his voice at a level where it won't cough quite so much.
So cool.
And on this episode, we are covering anime that airs the week... Well, not really. We're covering one anime that airs the week of December the 30th to January the 5th. And then we're watching a whole load of Netflix stuff.
Massive time and space.
It's the start of a new year, but we got to finish off some shit from last year that have been kind of rolling around. So we're just going to take care of it since it's a bit dry on the ground this week.
Right in the back of the fridge.
Yeah, Akuma-kun, episode 8. There's still 4 more of these to do, though. True Intentions, in which a little kid who is drawn like a Shigeru Mizuki character, who's the friend of the daughter of the landlady, who's not drawn like a Shigeru Mizuki character because everybody's cowards and they refuse to draw little girls like Shigeru Mizuki little girls. Nasty little goblin children.
With a snot hanging out of her nose or nothing.
Instead, she looks like... And he wants to be a demon because he's got to fight the bad guys for justice. And the other part of the episode is there's a case of a best friend who I was not paying full attention to this part, and he turned into a shadow monster who created a shadow monster from his desire for a gacha game card.
Yeah,
I guess it manifested in him based off of that.
A demon of conquest. He didn't summon this fucking demon. It manifested because he wanted this fucking gacha card, and it was a conflict of interest, basically. So, like, he didn't even form a pact or anything. It was just like, the demon's like, oh, that's a fucking conflict. I got to get in on that.
It wasn't even a matter of, oh, he wants this card, he covets it, and his greed is overtaking him. It was just like, oh, this is my card, but oh, my best bud's been wanting this card for so long, and I just pulled it at 1 in a million chance, and I feel super bad about that. Like, I want it because it's a great card, but he wants it more. And it's like, no, just that alone. It's like it's a negative emotion, but it's not coming. It's coming from like a place of good intention, but the road to hell and all that, etc.
Yeah.
But the bulk of the episode is these two kids following around Mephisto the Second, because they're like, oh, Mephisto the Third's a half demon. We really found out how he became a half demon. Let's go and ask his dad.
And they only find that out because as they're fighting this kind of neat demon possessed guy, they're constantly like fight him at the apartment. Okay, demon's too big, run away. And at some point they mention Mephistopheles the third is half demon. I was like, that means his dad is full demon. So we need to go to his house, do the precocious thing of children like stepping on each other's shoulders to reach even the doorbell because they are quite small. And they're like, hey, are you a demon? He's like, shut up, get inside. And he has to explain his backstory, but not really. But enough for a child to understand it, basically.
He gets into it though. He's like, the good old days. I was gonna crack open a tinny to remind me of like, actually I knew Akuma-kun's dad as well. No, me and him, we were quite the pair. And then I met I met her rough one. We went to the cinema date together. I cried the film, she cried the film. That's when we knew it was kismet.
Yes, because the little girl doesn't want to leave until she figures out how the pair of them got together.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Very touching. But how do you turn fucking like a little lad here into a demon? Like, what's the process there?
So I'm not going to tell you, get out of my house. You said you're going to leave. I told you the story, and then they just follow me around for the rest of the day.
I love her thing of it's just like her knowing of Mephistopheles' dad's behavior, and it's like that's very demon-like. It's like he just wanders around all day in the middle of the day, goes to sleep in the park, and I was like, I just think he's jobless, lads. I think you're kind of assuming a lot about it.
I think he's either out of a job or retired.
Like he's definitely like has his time to himself, basically. Yeah.
And they essentially the main part of the story is to compare this little lad who wants to be a demon to Akuma-kun, and for Akuma-kun to carry on going around, not showing any sort of empathy for people.
Like he nearly has some at the start where obviously him and Mephistopheles the third notice immediately the two children are very badly ninja following them down the street. It's like, should we do something? And Akuma-kun's like, hey, how's it going? And Mephistopheles is like, no, you'll break their little hearts. Leave them alone. Let them follow us to our very dangerous mission this episode. Not the
Yeah,
smartest plan, no.
it was pretty dangerous because Dad had to put on the old hat and cape again himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To step in to save the son. And not only did he save the son, but he made the son not look like an asshole, where he's just like, oh, that's just my dad's charms. I couldn't have done it without you, boy. You know, that kind of thing. He's like, oh, you know, he still manages to like lift his spirits a little, not knock him down, which is good parenting.
Yeah. And then they figure out the problem is that this kid's being beaten by his mum's boyfriend, as is the mum. And then we get a final bit of Akuma showing no empathy for anybody.
And they do it in a very tender and a very like dignified way as well. They don't like
They don't
go
show you
full.
anything,
Don't go full like dark gathering and
No.
one saying, yeah. So here's my like my mom and her new fella turning dad into meatballs in the bath. No, it's just like here, son, show me your arm. It's like the concern look is just like, oh my god.
This is
You
more
can
fucked up
put
than
it
the
together.
demon we were just fighting. Yeah. They don't even need to get into the gritty details. Obviously, he's been taken away by child services, and Akuma-kun's is like, well, if she was a decent mother, then she'd leave the guy, but she doesn't. So just goes to show people are shit. And Mephistopheles is like, it's fucking complicated, all right. You can't just. But no.
Like we've seen some fucked up people in a while summon a devil to eat it now. And that guy had it coming, but this dude, like, he was just consumed with feelings of guilt, like about his friend, like and that turned him into demon. So it's like even the best of us can fall prey to these things. Can't you have like any relation to that at all? No, actually, this kind of bored by it, honestly.
And then we get a shot of our dastardly angel and the next visitor to their office, who's saying a woman's name. Stay tuned to find out.
My God.
Then we got Scott Pilgrim, episode 7 and episode 8. First of all, we've got 2 Scott, 2 Pilgrim, and then The World versus Scott Pilgrim. It actually worked well as saving these for a double bill because they do.
They do. They make a good finale kind of thing, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Special guest star Will Forte as old Scott, all 37 years old, is broken down bold bastard.
Perfect casting.
I love that. Like I initially I was thinking, is that him doing like a weird accent? And I was like, is it like, oh, I gotta age myself up, like as Scott Pilgrim. Was like, wait a minute, that's a completely different guy. I didn't recognize him at first.
Well, he's got experience playing like an immature person who's been in multiple eras.
Yeah, because the irony
is... If we had to cast an old Scott Pilgrim to play off of Michael Cera, that's who we'd get, that kind of way.
And the old Scott Pilgrim is just a bit older than Michael Cera actually is nowadays.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. It's, He's just playing older, basically,
But emotionally, he's still in his mid-20s. Oh, is there any
Aren't
hope for
we
him?
all?
Well, that is the final payoff, is that Ramona essentially was as well, and they were still behaving like they were younger, which caused the problem. I was half right in that, yes, it was an older Scott time traveling, but as we discovered in the episode, it was also an older Ramona time traveling. But the way Scott,
both of them trying to fix things made things not worse, but more confusing at the very least.
Yeah, the way Scott was time traveling is he was now friends with the twins. They've got a new band where we get the Kaneohe Hurricane music video they've made.
Oh my goodness,
that was
good. Just put this one stupid smile on my face when it came on. And just like, we meet the guys, and we've been working on some music. I thought, here's some YouTube video. I'm like old indie rock thing. No, I'm just going to do a cover of this.
And they disconnect the robot from time and space, so the robot is experiencing everything it's experiencing along its multiple timelines at once.
I do appreciate the little retcon that this does as well, of like, this is the Scott who has beaten the twins, got with Ramona. They're not divorced yet, but they are separated from Ramona, and he's met up with the twins again because they reconstituted at their house. It's like, so he wasn't just murdering people all through Scott Pilgrim. That's good. Okay.
Again, there's a little thing like the sort of goal from the comic one saying, yeah, if anybody here, but he totally iced those dudes. Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of stuff with essentially showing us old Scott Pilgrim and old Wallace still living
Oh,
together.
Wallace, who looks great, by the way, fantastic. The premature graying, it suits him. Fantastic stuff. I love the fact that they've just moved Wallace's basement apartment into the basement of his new fabulous mansion. So Scott can live there, basically. Yeah.
They're doing okay. I mean, this future of Italy seems pretty mussed up in other respects because you can't go outside fucking wearing like a rebreather. And Ramona is still like having to do delivery jobs, which in this,
But now she's
I
got
understand these kind of jobs in this economy. It's pretty.
But she's got the what's that fucking Hideo
Death
Kojima game where you're a
Stranding.
mailman?
Death
She's got the
Stranding.
Death Stranding
Yes.
backpack. I didn't do the math, but if Scott is 37, does that put it at today or like a couple of years ago? I think it's a couple of years ago. Right?
It's sitting to you 2000X, so I can slide around.
Yeah. Okay, we're cool.
Yeah, so then he goes to speak to Ramona, and
It's all fine. It's just a
Yes.
super happy ending.
because it's Scott's plan. The older Scott's plan is to make the young Scott not fall in love with Ramona, and therefore he won't have this terrible life. But goes to speak to the older Ramona, and she wanted to make sure that Scott would still remember their romance after the older Scott had messed it up by bringing him here. So she'd gone and taken. So old young Neil had written the story, and then she turned it into a screenplay and taken it back in time and delivered it to young Neil.
So young Neil did write it years later. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but she made it better.
She adapted it as a screenplay, so it is his voice, but like I assume punched up a little. Yeah.
Yes, and she's the one who's taken him back because she's got a time machine as well, which are rollerblades made out of DeLorean car parts.
Yeah.
Yes, the
As
VR
simple
machine
solutions,
is
I'm
a
fine with it.
virtual boy. There's this one
Yeah.
feels like the episode with the most pop cultural references piled on.
Yeah. I don't mind them so much because of the use of it, and it's just like the futuristic version of a virtual boy, which is still just a virtual boy. I presume still gives you a headache.
It's still VR, but it's still all right. It does very much. Oh, everyone's talking about VR and Oculus Rift these days. Back in my day, this is what VR was to me. It was all red.
But one of the things I think
to have it.
works differently is obviously old Scott is showing normal Scott. I think is how they define themselves eventually. He's showing him, it's like, all right, here's the story of Scott Pilgrim that we the viewers should be aware of going in, basically. So instead of having that character growth, he sees him have that character growth, and so he's kind of having an outside perspective of, so that happens, and then you end up here. So he has beyond that character growth by the end of his VR experience.
But you can see it. Oh, you're the big hero, you got all the way through, but also like, oh, you were a bit of a shit as well, And
you don't improve any, yeah.
It's like you hear your own voice on tape, and one of my dad's like, don't sound like that, do I? Well, you do actually. But imagine that before your whole life.
So yeah, it takes them back to the end of episode 6, and then they decide to kiss, but they can't kiss because there's an AT field between their lips.
Yeah, yes.
And so they're like, must be one of the exes still. We've got to go and beat them all up after all. How we're going to, and then Knives points out, we can get them all together. We invite them all to the premiere of the musical I've written.
The right for Magic Patel. But then they tool up to roll on down to the theater and saying, "It's you, fun boyfriend number 3, Todd Ingram. What's up with you, fun?" Saying, "I am man, everyone. I'm past all that now. Don't worry about it." Okay, it wasn't me. And if John, these guys have all resolved their issues with Ramona and their past romance with that. They're actually ground fine. Well, maybe Todd is still kind of wondering where Wallace has gone to. But that's his problem now. It's separate to this.
And Goose is still evil, and Julie is now clearly evil. Because they're planning on.
I mean, she was always kind of a dick, so that makes sense, yeah.
But she wasn't planting massive amounts of dynamite in a theatre evil in the previous parts of the story.
No.
Pretty villainous, I think, like exploding a theater. That's one of the classic villain things, I think.
When you meet someone you can really be yourself with, and you just get comfortable. I'll hang out.
Yep. So he thinks he's about to blow everything up when they are all pulled into
the moon.
Yes.
Land on the moon, or
some sort of
Nondescript crater or desert, because we're going to have a big fucking Dragon Ball fight up in here.
I thought they were pulled to the future, but later on it stated that they're in the present, the present where the show is set, if that makes sense. So I guess they're in a big, like you say, Dragon Ball. There's just a lot of rocks to be bounced off of and stuff. You know the kind of deal. Yeah.
Now they've got to fight even older Scott Pilgrim.
47 years old. Oh, he's ancient. He's just like, all grey beard. He's like old man Logan up in there or something.
I think he looks better. He's got a good Akuma fucking thing going on. At some point, and I can't remember where it was, he does the Gill laugh from Street Fighter 3, and I was like, "Oh, nice job."
Yeah.
He's looking great because he's spent the last 10 years between when we last saw him in the prior episode, like just working out, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, that's because I'm gonna double down. If I have a show, the fucking like Scrooge in the Christmas card, error of my ways, and rather than like we're like a personal mental infantry or spiritual infantry, I'm gonna go even harder at it.
It's the reveal at the end of the episode when it's like the thing he'd interpreted as being divorced and or separated has apparently just been days during the first time travel in the previous episode. And then he just overreacted when things didn't change due to young Scott, and then disappeared for 10 years to turn himself.
I did think his frustration, and it was like, we've still got divorced somehow, despite the force field staying up.
Yeah. But
I love the explanation of the force field. It was just nanomachines. I drugged your drink with nanomachines, and it was just like, of course, that's a simple solution. They live in the future. They have nanomachines. Simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like he put in all that hard work, 10 years of work, but we weren't putting in the work in. We actually needed to put in the work,
He put the work in on himself, on like his abs and his fighting skills, but not on his personality at all. Yeah.
That's it. Like, this is like, it's like even if like original comics guy, he went through all that, and he didn't actually learn anything at the end. This is kind of like the bad thing upon saying, well, I'm the hero of the story. It's fine. It's like sit back and let things happen. Everything will be all right. No kind of effort involved on my part whatsoever. No siree.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm broke and homeless and whatever. How did that happen? Why has it all happened to me?
It must be someone else's fault. My fault. I'll fucking kick my ass and show me what for. Yeah, so he's separated, and again, that's a thing people can do as well, where it's just like, if only I hadn't made all those decisions when I was younger, stupid bastard me, I wish I could kick my ass and teach me something. It's like, you've grown in no possible way, you're just still externalizing even yourself as something to blame. But yeah, that's what's happened here, and he's going to do it with a big fight, which I did appreciate on the prior episode, where it was like, oh, there's no fights? Man, what a disappointing ending. And I was like, there's going to be a big fight. And there is a big fight because all the evil X's are there, Scott and Ramona, and all the lads are there. So everybody's going to get some punchings in. Yeah.
They give you all the hits, Knives has put the stripe in her hair. It gets punched out by sheer force and velocity. Oh, yeah, that's in the comic. But Ramona has to take the kind of spiritual and personal imagery here. It's like, if you can't we're beating this guy up and we're like win the day, but you can't like dodge the kind of hand you've had in this as well. That's when older Ramona always has to run like come out as well. She's still looking all right.
Yeah. And she's kind of like, dude, what the fuck? Why haven't you called me in like 10 years? And he's like, I've been training to beat myself up so that we could never get together and never to get divorced in that case. And she's like, dude, that's fucked up. What the hell? Because it is. It's just like, no, personal inventory, work on yourself, fucking take responsibility. No, it'd be better if I beat myself up right now. That'll solve all my problems.
But then he says, run away from the thing you love. And that's the point where the Ramonas realise, oh, we've done no work on ourselves either.
Yeah.
While older Ramona has it together, she ran away from this relationship like she did all the other exes, like basically, and turned them all, like that's what happened. All the evil exes in the original timeline, whatever the fuck you want to call it, like they all got shitty because she walked away from that in a really shitty way.
Yeah, the
same way she did with Scott.
The first sign of difficulty, she's out of there. I'm not willing to deal with this. I'm a fucking. That's why I stick with this. This is that summer thing for me. It's just like with everybody, any time of year, it's a summer thing for you.
Yeah.
There's a Sonic 3 reference that I did not get because I never played Sonic 3.
He goes supersonic at the start of Sonic 3 with the Chaos Emeralds.
Okay.
It's like Super Saiyan, but I don't know. I feel like they're kind of like in parallel because it was like a Dennis the Menace situation there. I'm not sure what that came about. If one
I
inspired the
think
other.
I think they both get it off. Obviously, Dragon Ball gets it off the like your what is it, like Golden Warrior or something like that. The guy who goes all yellow and shiny, it's like Son Goku and that kind of fucking thing. Yeah.
No,
So
right,
like it's all from the same source and shit. It's fine. So Ramona's allowed fuse with herself from the future, and there's just like, oh yeah, because I'm even if it's 40 or 50 or 100 fucking years later, you're the same person you were. So it kind of like as this kind of fusion of mind of the thought that we both run away from things. We're gonna have to stop doing that if we want to improve as a person.
Yes, but also then tell Scott, you got to make sure I stop doing that.
And again, recognizing that you can't
Do it all on
you can't do a lot of self work yourself. You do exist with other people. It's like you got to look out for me as well. That's what a relationship is like. Yeah.
And then they end up back in the theater. The demons
The show was a smash.
disconnect all the bombs. They finally get a kiss and sparkles. Because there has to be sparkles. Because Wallace in the previous episode claimed that sparks aren't real.
Until he goes to Paris, and it has like a wonderful like European break, a little romance. They're like, "Oh, I see you're a visitor here as well," and then they just start macking out, but right next to the Seine. It's like, yes.
And that man will eventually work for Nintendo, the video game company.
Whoa! I just did again,
stuff.
mobile or something. He was in the comic. I remember him.
Gideon Goose gets his corporation back because Matthew Patel is not capable of running a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
I just wanna sing. I just wanna act. I'm happy with just this. So just let me have this. We're all good.
Mm-mm.
And then
I like the fact that both of them get shadows. Like Goose, you're one. Get the evil shadows. Like, oh, we're gonna do so much evil with all this money, and even Patel is kind of like, I'm gonna do so much evil as a stage actor. And it's like, yeah, you're all going to be evil. That's fine. That's just who you are.
They have like full and scene. Oh man, I'm sorry about the full and scene. I guess it all worked out. You're kind of like, ha 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 ha.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then your mid-credit scene is showing that Julie and Goose are planning their real evil plan now. They've got all the money back to tease you for a sequel.
That would never happen, just like Giant Robot.
I mean, like, they could do a sequel if they want now. They have, like, the entire cast, including evil exes and shit, to work from. So, like, one of the fun things of this is seeing the weird interactions between characters who you didn't get to see interact with before, seeing the differences in them and how that can work out. Like, yeah, it works really good.
Well, it's removing that whole thing. His whole like issue was like, no, he's very self-centered, so the comic kind of feels that way. All these people are just like, oh yeah, it's just like my friend, my person I know from the band. It's just like, dude, you went out for her for like 3 years in high school. Do you not remember that? Like, it's just like, oh yeah. It's just like, he just doesn't fucking remember. So absent that, you could see like, well, what are these people without him? Just as we know them through him. How we know them like individually as people is like, oh yeah, actually they got a lot going on.
Yep, very good series. These 2 episodes particularly because I used to joke that on Twitter that Haybot had already done a Scott Pilgrim anime because it has an episode which ends in the same way that Scott Pilgrim the movie does. And then these last 2 episodes made me go, oh no, this has turned out to be a lot more like Haybot than I was going to give it credit for, of having to fight various incarnations of yourself.
Like Haybot's so like self-referential and like twisting in on itself, that kind of thing. That's like, this kind of becomes that as well.
I was skeptical about this whole fucking product guy coming into it. And then it immediately thrown to everybody for a loop from fucking day one. It's just like, oh. And now I get to watch it all again in Japanese.
So that's Scott Pilgrim taken care of. Next to take care of 3 episodes of Pokemon Concierge. Episode 2, What's on Your Mind, Psyduck? I like these 3 episodes a lot better. Do you know why I liked them? because I did a
It's
shameful
got
thing.
Psyduck in him.
I did a shameful thing. Well, that helps, but I did a shameful thing, and I moved my mouse across the screen to that playback speed part of Netflix and upped it to 1.25. And
Oh, that's bold.
Those jokes hit a lot better when they're just a little bit quicker, just a little bit faster paced, and it worked for me.
With modern technology, you can be your own director and editor.
Yes. So then I was like, maybe I need to try. Oh, except I don't think Crunchyroll have that, do they? So I can't do that on
Yeah.
Time to Torture Princess. Another show that desperately needs to move a little bit faster.
Some fucking a bit of pace to it. No, but I didn't even help just watching these in a bunch of girls like, oh, there's actual like things happen. You get Psyduck in there. He's also a fuck up. They're both fuck ups together. And it's a little bit more like I don't know, have humor, a bit of energy, kind of pace put into it now. All right.
Yeah, so episode 2 is befriending Psyduck. She chooses Psyduck as her Pokemon, and it's like, how can we get his headaches under control so that his psychic powers don't go crazy? Well, why didn't you help out by using their psychic powers, Psyduck?
Use them a little bit at a time rather than bottling it all up inside and eventually going fucking crazy, like I did before I got to this island.
Also, I live in a 3D world, and I can only move linearly, apparently, because when I'm pushing a
oh
cart
my God.
downhill, I can't avoid a tiny rock. I hit a rock, and I'll just continually ram it into the rock rather than pull it back and go around.
I mean, like, Haru's not the quickest on the uptake. You do find out from watching these episodes. So yeah, that does.
Rocky won't beat me.
So that's essentially episode 2 is befriending Psyduck, various psychic, telekinetic pranks, disasters and pratfalls.
Next, don't focus on what you're bad at. Just like find out what's fun to you, and everybody got will come naturally.
Yes, I hope you will evolve. I can evolve too is episode 3, because there's all these Pokemon evolving on the island, and Haru's thinking, "Oh, I wish I could evolve too."
Yeah, the trainer called him, but I'm gonna drop out my Pokemon episode. Oh, by the way, it's like in the like 3-week period, it might evolve any day now. So just keep an eye on that. It's like, what do you want me like present there for the moment when the Pokemon evolves? Seeing your child being born.
Just don't hold down the B button when it's evolving. Like just let it work away. Like that's grand. I don't mind.
Maybe it's just it's just a natural thing, Each time we're gonna come back and pick that Pokemon up, is it? No.
Dude, that's fucking flying grass. That's a great typing.
I want dragon type. Well, so does the magic card that wants to, this is, if you're one of our regulars, they've come in here for years, doesn't know how to swim, but you give them a little, like, the rubber tube and you have a great time.
Magikarp is already, like, generally the most pathetic Pokemon. And this is a Magikarp that needs a fucking floaty so it doesn't drown. And then when its floaty gets taken away by, like, a passing Wingull, like I said again, and it tears up. I was like, "Oh, you poor bastard! You're the saddest sack I've ever fucking seen."
Let's hop on the dragon. I'm gonna chase this thing down. Lands under a Snorlax, rolls over and pops it. It's like, oh no, gonna make a nice new one for him. But we don't need to, because what's that noise we're here on Night Watch? Oh, he's just fucking swimming around and evolve. I can tell because the star-shaped scale on his hindquarters there. Oh, good going, little fella. Turns out they all love these little reeds, little tubes. So, you want to kind of rocking little like a floaty as well. It's like maybe that's what you're good at. Oh.
That's the kind of craft that she works at, like making these little personalized reeds that the Pokemon seem to enjoy. So yeah, all good.
Let me get the big man. The big man. Big mans. Lots of them are here. Pikachu tour group. I think it's like one of those like ukulele like meetups, but he'd be a Pikachu with you instead.
Yeah, and there's one Pikachu who doesn't want to play with the other Pikachus.
No.
And so Haru and the Pikachu's owner and Psyduck try and get it to play, but
like the little kid's like, make my Pikachu normal, and I was like, dude, that's fucked up. Your Pikachu is normal. Like, your dog's not broken. He's just shy. All right, calm down.
Yeah. To see how he is with like Psyduck, with us like dozing off here and going to do shooting a sketch at him. It's just like, he's just a little shy little fella, like you can't let him go on a swing by himself. You gotta get on swing with him. So like, you gotta let him be, kid. Hey, I got a fucking big like tire. We're gonna roll down the hill. You wanna come? Fun saying, yeah. Hey, Pikachu, you want to go? Oh, you know, how about we both go? And they both go down. And his little eyes light up on, so he's like, wee!
Hmm.
Nah. That's
We
nice to
do
know.
obviously have Pikachu's voice actor like barely voicing Pikachu, just the most shy voicing Pikachu you've ever heard.
No. But if you had fun on the island, and then it's just like, we're just seeing him off on the boat. He's like, oh, goodbye, little fella. It's just like, Pikachu! It's like, oh, he's shouting at us. Oh, I'm gonna get up in tears. I'm so happy.
Hmm, hmm.
But that's what these little magical moments are about on Pokemon Island and Pokemon Resort.
Yeah.
Now,
Magic every day.
many years before you get any more episodes, because goodness knows how long it takes to make them.
No, God, no.
I did watch some of the extras because I love seeing like the models and the little
Yes, like the
little
small
materials and stuff. They're
faces
just
that-
fantastic.
Yeah, because that's their technique for this one, is because they're models rather than the plasticine. It's like they have like the multiple faces to swap the expressions to
Yes.
and all that.
Yeah,
jazz.
yeah.
It's your kind of like style, looking like puppets and things together, all right.
Yeah, when they say like Haru was the most like basic human stop motion puppet that they kind of use, I was just like, yeah, because she looks like a Leica thing, like long skinny fucking limbs, that kind of thing. She's very much so got that kind of stuff going on. I decided I'd test the first episode on my nephews when I was minding them there the other day. I was like, do kids like this? I gotta fucking see. And one of my nephews he's like 5 or 6 or something like that. He was refusing to watch it initially because it was PG, which means it was too extreme for him. And I was like, you lead a sheltered life. But no,
Miles Perro.
yeah, because I was like, well, I guess she's coming from like a breakup. Is that why it's upsetting? I don't fucking know.
But see the Pikachu at the end, he's got anxiety.
I guess, yeah, there's that as well. But they're all resolved. So, but himself and the other fellow who's like a toddler, and they were like, I'm very fucking interested in this. And I was like, all right. Just to gauge, because they were watching the whole time, I'm going to put on Ponyo. And while the little guy fucking loved Ponyo, he was like, yeah, fish, I love it. The other guy was like, I fucking hate this. When are they going to do anything besides fish? And I was like, okay, cool. Just wanted to see which one appeals to the youth.
Yeah,
There's 2 left for him now.
Yeah, rated PG for emotionally intense scenes.
There's a Magikarp crying. That upset me a little, so I understand. But, it all worked out in the end. He turned into a dragon.
Just a little shy Pikachu is just gripping like the pant leg there. It's like, oh, he's just shy. He's a poor little fella. The Sonic was pretty brilliant though. Like even like he's kind of he's still figuring things out, levitating sweets into her mouth. Oh, that's too many. Oh, but he means well. You can't cuddles in. That's really nice. And when they're out in the scooter next morning, like he's in the front basket, he's just going like no, yeah.
But as curious, season 1 of Pui Pui Molcar is PG. Season 2 is you.
Season 1 has like the action film bit and has zombie apocalypse.
It's PG for threat. Yes, it's got crashes, all sorts.
Bank robbery, you might get a ticket. Stress didn't want to lay on a child. No, none whatsoever. Yeah. I think it's right to move just kind of breeze through this in one, but I think it benefited a bit from this. You get into that kind of gear with it, and you can kind of just sit in it, and then that was nice, Like a sandy
sometimes,
beach.
like me, you just have to turn that gear off a bit.
I suppose you're the perfect person on the holiday. You're all go. We gotta see the sights. We gotta take in the town.
Taking in the sights. Taking in the food available as you go see those sites. It's Delicious in Dungeon, episode 1. I think that actually aired this week. Episode 1 is Hot Pot and Tart, in which we meet our heroes, Leos, Marcel, and Chilchuk, after they have been thoroughly defeated by a red dragon. Leos's sister has been eaten by said dragon, and the rest of their party have quit.
That was a bit rough. So they all got out.
And like the sister, she used like escape to get everybody else out of the dungeon, but that means they left all the gear, all the loot after us. So we're fucking flat broke, but the clothes and their backs and the armor on our bodies, we got nothing.
So he's kind of like Leos is kind of going like, all right, if we sell our gear and what we have on us and buy like crappier gear. Would be able to afford some party members. Maybe if you guys quit, sell your stuff, and I'll go into the dungeon on my own because I mean I can probably get there quicker on my own. And she's like, yeah, but then you have to fight a fucking dragon, and he's like, I'll figure it out on the way. They're like, no, but dude, we're gonna stick with you. Come on,
Wait a minute. Monsters eating. Okay, hear me out here. We kill a monster if you just kind of leave it lying there, nothing with it. What if now what if we ate the monsters? And they're like, no. Yeah, but I got a guy that says no, we gotta try it. We're out of money. Okay, we're out of money.
There's clearly like a monster ecosystem there that some monsters prey on the lower monsters, on the top of the food chain is the red dragon, that kind of shit. So if monsters eat monsters, why can't we eat? And they're all like, that's fucked up, dude.
Marcel very quickly realizes, hang on a second. Have you been wanting to eat monsters all the time? And this is...
He has a book that describes the way all the monsters taste and everything. So yeah.
Check it out, walking mushroom. I mean, mushroom. That's just basically food already. We just got there's some adventurers there. I guess they're new upon saying clonk. Okay, all right, here we go. Well, I guess we'll just like slice them up and put them in something, right? It's like we do with a mushroom.
Yeah, I do love how this is super old school D&D. In that it's like
it is
a mad wizard showed up. He's made this dungeon appear in this town many moons ago.
Apparently there was an ancient kingdom or something that disappeared. So this is presumably that kingdom flipped underground. Essentially, yeah.
There's multiple adventuring parties heading into this dungeon. Which there's
it's not a fact. If you're dead, you're dead. You can if you can retrieve your body, you can be brought to the church and we can cast resurrect on you.
Yeah. There you can be resurrected within the confines of the dungeon, so death isn't a permanent thing. So that's why it's not morbid when they find corpses. It's like, oh fuck, that guy got fucked up. It's fine. It's just like.
But it's also important you want to get down to get Fanon back out from the dragon's belly because we're not sure if you can resurrect her from its feces. So we better cut it open and get her out quick.
What percentage of her do we need back? It's because. But yeah, there's and you find this out as the thing goes on. There's a whole economy based on dungeon delving adventurers. You have a subset of the economy that's just about the resurrection thing because it's that's not free. You do have to pay for a resurrection, and you don't want to go into debt for getting resurrected too many times. You don't want to die too much. That's not good for you.
They find a corpse and it's we'll just string this up in here. We should leave it out. No, his family might born at him. The guys that go around they do the patrol. They'll find them. They'll bring them back. They'll send them the bill. They'll be offline.
So they try to. What do they try to cook? A scorpion?
Well, we try to get a giant scorpion because we need
they got
some meat for this. We gotta put something in there. So I sort of tease it out there. Ka-chunk. All right.
You can hear the chittering of a scorpion in one of the upper levels of the dungeon where there's a marketplace basically of people buying and selling stuff. Presumably they found in the dungeon and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So he kind of catches the scorpion like a crayfish basically by kind of pulling it out and donking it, and it's just I guess we could do it up here. And there's some guy nearby who's been twittering around in the background going are you fucking guys cooking monster? Because I'd like to get in on that, please. Yes, please.
I'll tell you how you're doing it all wrong.
Doing it all wrong. If I put say first of all, scorpion, you don't need the tail. You found out for the hard way that you don't need the tail because the venom is in there. So it won't kill you, but it tastes bad. So get rid of it.
Yeah.
You want to take out the legs and the head and that, give out the guts and things. You just kind of chop it up kind of nicely. You want the water to get into it and seep in and up on saying mushroom, huh? Yeah. That's okay. See what else we can kind of put in here. Some slime. How about some slime? You want some slime in the stew? Yeah, sounds good. It's
they do that after Marcel gets a slime, tries to suffocate her, and he's like, oh no, don't worry. If you know where its organs are, they're very easy to kill. And here's one I dried out earlier that I'm going to turn into noodles. We're going to use this root over here. It's we're technically in the graveyard of the city. I'm not sure how comfortable I'm eating. It's it's ginger. You can eat ginger. It's cool. Don't worry about it. And what about that green stuff? It's oh, that's mold. You can find that anywhere. It's great.
Very piquant, It was spoiled all up there fun saying, now there's a hot pot for you. There we go.
So yeah, this is Senshi. He joins the party. There's now 4 of them. One of them knows he's going to join because he wants to eat the dragon when they kill the red dragon.
Because when he finds their quest, it's like, you guys are on a fucking mission, like that you're doing this. It's like, yeah, we got to kill a red dragon. He's like, I've always fucking wanted to eat a red dragon. I mean, like, you can make hamburgers, obviously. That's
yes,
the
and
first thing I
Leos
think.
is considering, is he going to be eating my sister if he does that?
It's like, can we eat the thing that eat a person? Does that make us monsters? We don't have time to think about that now.
Yeah, so the hot pot part is is the first chapter, so it's longer section than the start part.
Yeah.
I'm checking tomorrow's episode, and that has 3 stories. I'm like, yes,
That's about right. Yeah.
This is going to be nice. The vampire dies in no time. Pacing.
The comic is finished, so they know how to space these things out, and they can't even, like, within reason, move things up. Some things, like, a recipe that they kind of get, it might come into use later on, because often what happens is that a method of preparation for, like, eating these monsters is also a good way to kill it, as they find with, like, the mushroom bun, saying, oh, we cut this way, it kind of going with against the grain, so that's what I'm saying, but if you cut this way, it goes right through. That'd be handy when we gotta kill these things in the dungeon at some point.
And it is like, bizarrely, despite the fact that we're cooking fucking monsters from early editions D&D, it's very like method that you could actually like use in it. Like, you cut with the grain.
Again, it feels like the thing of like, oh, this is resistant to slashing weapons, but a piercing weapon will hurt.
Yeah. Exactly. So you do find out things about the monsters.
So so take out your stiletto from your knife block here. You want to kind of needle that in there, and it's good out. You got to take your fish knife and gut that out. You got to use the right tool for the job.
And the second part is them dealing with carnivorous plant monsters, essentially explaining the various different ways carnivorous plant monsters work and which bits you can eat of them.
Yeah, they don't really eat you. They're more like kind of rot, like, kill you and you rot and turn to compost. So there's no digestion involved.
This one plants its seeds in you.
So your man Lisa kind of saying to Marcel is like, but you're okay with eating vegetables, and vegetables live off rotting corpses and poop. And she's like, yeah, but that's fine. I've normalized that. It's okay. That plant tried to eat me, and he's like, what was it like when it was like holding you? It was like, what? It was like, was it really like embracing, like a tender lover? And she's like, what the fuck are you doing? No.
It's just the face, and the faces are also big. That it's just like, it just freezes her, and then it's just like fucking zooms in like it's some fucking YouTube fucking poop.
I've seen that done a few times. I was actually in Scott Pilgrim as well there. I think the last episode where it does like like you said, the zoomed in one, the more pixelated fucking zoomed in like flat thing. But at least they cut out the sound on this one as well, which added to the funny reaction thing. I thought it's definitely a reaction shot that works quite well.
Like Marcel is the one who's like not even kind of picky ears. It's like fun saying, I don't want to step outside my comfort zone. I don't want to have that, and that fun saying, no, it's a real delicacy here. Fun saying, no, it sounds gross. I'm not eating the guts of that.
Not eating humanoids.
Yeah. Children's more like fun saying, look, it's disgusting, but we haven't got any money, so I'm just going to get on with it, all right? He's kind of disgusted as well, but he's more like, I'll just do one of these and just, try it.
Yes.
But then every time they try, it's like, this is quite good. It's like Senshi knows what the fuck he's doing.
It's like lobster. Wow. To make a nice dessert then out of the plant bits that they get then. Actually, the fruit of it, because they discovered then that the fruit is just like, depending on what way they kill you, it might be kind of like a lighter, sweeter fruit. It might be kind of more kind of densely packed, rich fruit. Oh, I see.
And it's the idea that like it's the fruit is there to attract animals to it, like mice or humans, and then they catch the fucking thing, let it rot. Like the fruit is bait, basically. That's the purpose it serves. But they also use a bunch of the leftover broth from the stew the last time.
And that's more slime.
That's the other thing. They keep using and reusing parts, and it's about the thing, like, again, cooking method rather than like specific recipe. It's just like, hang on to that. That'll come in handy later. That kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm really a big fan as well of what the way that things are kind of packed away. You'll see it much more essentially. There's some great like kind of chapter like pages and that was just laying out the individual gear. You can see this guy tucks away all his like fucking his herbs and spices and all his fixings like that. He's got a little like air dryer for making these kind of slime sheets out of. It all fits into that giant wok he carries around. It's like a fucking shield on his back. It's just so well put together.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of really loving thought has been put into this. I think the only thing I really missed from the comic was the nutritional value stat
the
sheet of
hex
each of the
graph, yeah.
meals, where you see how much protein, vitamin B, and stuff is in it. And I was just like, those are fun, but it doesn't really need it. Like it did a lot of things right. Like Senchi's voice was a lot more animated than I expected, but still really pleasant. But they didn't animate. They didn't cower it out and animate his mustache or anything. Like there was no expression moving on his face besides his eyes moving around, because it's beard, mustache, and helmet. There's no expression happening.
But that kind of gives him like a much greater vibe of this like very intense weirdo. It's just like, hey kid, you want to cook a dead body?
Yeah, yeah. It worked quite well. Yeah.
It's not so old school though that it gives its lady dwarves beards.
I mean, you don't know where their beards are. Like that's private. Don't get into that.
Has dog people kobolds though, so it goes
Yes.
that direction. All right.
Yes, we get a bunch of the other cast in the credits. So
So many of them. Now, I'm just kind of like came together pretty well. Like previews to this, I was hearing about, it seemed very middling on the whole affair at all, and I couldn't kind of put my finger on kind of why that was. I think it may got into their heads to point saying this is a trigger show. It's going to be a frenetic fucking animation fest. It's just like, well, yeah, and it is doing that, but not everything is going to be fucking Gurren Lagann or Dinah Zenon or shit like that. Fucking chill out. It would be completely wrong kind of tone for this thing.
Yeah, I mean, like the animation flourishes are like Senshi like chopping fucking vegetables and shit. It's just like that's what you want.
I am wondering if this is the thing it needs to get board game designers to steal this theme as a board game theme, because I'm surprised no one's done it yet.
Yeah. There's so much legs on it. Yeah.
There's been plenty of the I'm running a fantasy shop ripped off from, is it Atelier Games, those series of games?
Yeah, Atelier Ryza and whatever. Yeah.
There's been plenty of board games and card games attempting to do that, but I was like, it feels like Delicious in Dungeon is an ideal theme to nick for a board game of some kind.
Oh, there's like so much things you can kind of spin off of. Like, I think this is one of the definitely like inspirations for a lot of comics that came afterward too. There's like one operates in a similar one, but it's all about a dude going around like just charting the like linguistic qualities of different like Spanish races and saying, oh, like lizard men talk like this, is very kind of glottal, like blah, 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 and it goes really into detail, much like this is about like, like if a scorpion were like this kind of thing, how would you prepare it for a meal? Oh, a little bit like this, and they go into the whole rigmarole of that.
Heterogenea Linguistica. That's another favorite of mine. Anything that goes like, hey, here's the world, and it's like, here's an in-depth look of how shit works. I'm like, oh yeah, give me that fucking shit. That's
cross sections really good, because you see kind of how the dungeon works. Kind of the castle is like underground, so we're coming in all the kind of turrets and towers around people. Also, these trees are growing in between it as well, because I don't know, it's fucking magic. Don't worry about it. But there is there is like and it's magical, but it is like a logic to it. You can see like that tracks. You can see how that follows.
Yeah, and obviously
because it's magic stuff. Like Chilicho can say, like it's like, hey, why don't the trees poke through the surface and stuff? And it's just like, it's magic. The magic stops them from going above the dungeon. And I was like, that's fine. That's all you fucking need.
Yeah, I was just checking the dates on. Yeah, so Drango's House Hunting is 2016, so that's 2 years after.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
As is Interspecies Reviewers is also 2016, 2 years after Interspecies after Dungeon Meshi started. So yeah, it's like 2 years. Obviously, it'd been around 2 years. It's a success.
People were like, I could do that, but with fucking yeah. This is great.
It's like this is like it's like the good offshoot branch of if you're in a fantasy world, you can do this, what would it be? And it's just like, well, you get this, do this way, where it's like, I'm interested in this topic, so I'm going to examine it through a fantasy lens. That's cool. That's what it's about, because you can do anything you want to. So do anything you want, and it just shows the kind of positive imagination. And another big branch is just like, well, I don't know. I only play video games and talk about video games, and maybe occasionally anime. So that's what I'm going to make my anime about. It's just okay. You know the hobbies, I can see.
Or I've got this amazing idea for a campaign that no one wants to play with me because it's about slavery. So
Yeah.
I'm going to make it into an isekai novel. Um,
It just shows
mean,
you have no other interests or hobbies, in other people or other things. It's just you can bring something interest. This is what fantasy is for. This has fucking dragons and things and that, but it has some other fucking idea for it going. It's just
Yeah.
in this playground, in this fucking fictional world.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. You just keep deciding to go back to the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is such a generic fantasy, and which is the same way that Interspecies Reviewers works and Dragon Ghost House Hunting works, is it's not trying to do anything special with its fantasy setting. It is.
Is there goblins? Yes. Is there
Yeah.
harpies? Yes. All your fantasy
Standard,
animals?
yeah. You're an 11-year-old. You've got D&D for the first time. This is the world you're making straight out of the box. And then this.
That's why that's why Helk works as well, because you can't say, "Oh, this is like a stats talk fantasy thing," so you notice all the more. That's unusual. The usual things stick out so much more. Because the stock fantasy thing isn't the important bit, but it's where somebody didn't fall off and say, well, my stock fantasy world is much more interesting because I figured out a whole taxation system, and there's about four we got film, and the magic works in a kind of color coded thing. You got red, blue, green, magenta, not purple now, and cerulean.
Purple's different. There's I think there's a trope called it's our elves are different or our dwarves are different or whatever the fuck, and it's where you try and make our dwarves are like these little stone golem men. And it's you don't necessarily have to do that, and it stops being interesting. I think in Delicious in Dungeon, the elves are from a land across the sea. You know this shit. But you can still do interesting things with it. It's what does that mean for that character? What does that mean for specifically Marcel, who's here with the characters here? How is she in this really crappy small party? What's her particular connection to that? And it's using those very generic tropes and then do interesting things with it later. And it works. It does it very well.
They do a lot better as well because it's just Chilchuk is your little hobbit.
The thief, the hobbit.
It's fun to say. Yeah, I'm a little hobbit man, but I'm fucking 40 years old. I got a wife and kids back home. I'm just out here because I gotta fucking send money back.
It's a career basically. Yeah.
But he gets weird reactions to it because Senchi's like, "Oh, you're just a little boy fun saying, dude, I'm fucking older than you. What you call me a kid for?"
We're gonna get a lot of fun, I think, out of this one because it is the very again, much like Dragon Ghost House Hunting and other things that kind of came after it. It's very fucking chill. There's stakes, there's danger, but at the end of the day, we're gonna cook that danger and have a nice meal.
That's it. That's another thing that kind of was getting me to fun beauty and fun. Why are you kind of down on this one? Saying but his sister's going to be digested. We gotta get down. I don't understand why they're being so lackadaisical about getting out of fun. Saying, lads, this is kind of a comedy thing. So
yes,
we're gonna get out of it.
It's D&D. There's true resurrection. There's reincarnation if you really need it, and then your sister's now a completely different species.
They're on a bit of a clock because a dragon's digestive process is slower because it sleeps a lot, but we should probably get there sooner rather than later. Yeah.
Next week, we've got Detective Conan is back with a canon episode. I thought it was New Year, so I thought I'd better check. We should probably watch the episode of One Piece from this past.
I've seen the opening plenty of times.
Yeah. We'll have Undead Unluck back. We'll have Delicious in Dungeon episode 2. We'll have Mashal back. We'll have High Card back, and we'll probably check out Metallic Rouge.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I checked out half of 'Tis Time for Torture Princess, which looks really great. I just wished it was paced at least as fast as Delicious Dungeon is. Or ideally, probably as fast as Disastrous Life of Psyche K.
Okay.
Because the chapters are pretty slight. Actually, ideally, as fast as Roboco. And the chapters are essentially pretty much the same joke over and over again. That just doing 2 chapters for your first episode was pushing it for me.
Man, you got pack in. Just give me some as a manga diet thing. We put 5 sketches at minimum.
Yeah, that's what Psyche K is. It's 5 because that did the same thing that as a manga diet did, where it aired both as a block and there's 5 days of 5-minute episodes
of 5 shorts. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
took my time finishing things from last year. Again, all things last year, some both
Oh, yeah.
ongoing and finished. So I went to Oshinoko. It's remember to get back around to the mystery thing again, which is kind of enticing. That's halfway I'm in there, but it's going pretty all in on the showbiz side and like kind of grappling with one character who was like I kind of like her as well because it kind of was towards the end of the series. I was focused on wasn't her. She's like she's like she was a child star. She's like 16 years old now. She's always kind of touching fun. This is a beaten down, washed up old veteran. I don't know. It's like this business will kill you, kid. It'll break your heart. We're trying to kind of get her spark back on so she can be like the main girl in this idol putting together. It was fun little bits in it. Like there was like a scripted reality TV show, like one saying, "Oh, it's a romance thing," with all these like hot young teen celebs. But one of the girls is like a method actor, and she kind of studies the guy's like mother, who was like the idol, who was at the core of the whole thing, and gets into the part. But she kind of studies for her part like an FBI profiler. So that kind of draws. Oh, you be useful then on a mystery side because you can probably profile potential suspects for the father I'm trying to track down. I caught up to was Friar in Beyond Journey's End, and they were kind of thinking it's like a stock fantasy setting, but use it then to examine like a different like aspect of it. Now, it's this case, the elf who's still alive after her old venturing party is mostly dead, and putting together these kind of young people together. This basically the whole crux of it is hindsight's a bitch. Hindsight's a real bitch, but that doesn't mean that you can't like now you know, okay, can you like apply it going forward? No, she's kind of taken in people like that. She used to be kind of indifferent to others, but she's kind of taken on this kind of mother hen role to she's kind of taking people in. You're a wayward lass, ma'am. I'll fucking hang on to you. You fun to young kid adventurers, to her apprentice mate, to a dude who's like, no, I'm a cleric, but I'm a busted down 29-year-old cleric who smokes and drinks to the guy. I'm in a one horse town, but you kind of inspires him to go out and chase his dreams again.
Okay.
And yeah, and just like, you know, it's going into like another arc where she's got to get her license because she's been all this time alive for 1,000 years. She knows magic from like the person who invented magic because she was her apprentice from like 1,000 years ago. She's a completely unlicensed sorcerer otherwise. So she's got I should probably get around to doing that. It's been long enough. There are laws against that kind of thing now. Yeah, I'll try and stay on top of that one too. It's another solid little outfit.
I see Crunchyroll have put this brand new anime up, 15 episodes of a little thing called Fairy Princess Minky Momo.
Oh, okay, we got that on this side. I saw that, but I saw that come up, but I presumed, it's probably not going to be my part of the world, is it?
No, apparently it is.
My goodness. Wonders never cease.
Yeah, I've watched a few episodes of that before because somebody was found something it. It's pretty good. It's the thing it straddles a borderline because boy, there's an awful lot of secret identities she assumes which have guns. More surprising than you're expecting.
Well, it's a different time.
You know? It is. Yeah. But you think it's a big inspiration on those Pierrot ones.
Gunsmith Cats was around the corner after all.
Where they become singers and idols. But no, Minky Momo, I'm going to be James Bond this episode. I'm going to be a cowboy.
Also an idol, I think, but yeah.
I think occasionally an idol. But it's more like a cutie honey type situation of like, here's a fun and crazy job that I can do, turning from a small girl to an adult woman. And then her parents have quite the character design dissonance between them. Her
mum's living
like
on the moon or something.
Yeah, her mum's like super tall and elegant, and her dad's like this tiny little mustached fella who looks like he's stepped out of an entirely different cartoon. Yeah,
there's a story behind there.
It certainly is. Must be his personality.
Sense of humor.
Yeah. ESOH. That's what she was looking for. That's it for this week.
Size of hands.
We'll be back next week with lots of different things.
Maybe some rogue entries. We'll see what happens.
It's Rouge, I think, not Rogue.
Oops.
Always a hard spell. I'm going to hit this stop button.
Very nice. Good evening, good morning, goodbye.